Have you ever looked at a famous painting and just wondered, how? How does a piece of art become so valuable that it's worth more than a skyscraper? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the wild world of high-end art, and we're going to figure out exactly what goes into the price of genius. Just take a second and look at this number, $450.3 million. That's what one single painting sold for. I mean, that's not just a lot of money, that's an almost unimaginable amount. And that really is the big question, isn't it? How can one painting be worth that much? It seems crazy, but it's not just about a pretty picture. It's a mix of history, a killer backstory, rarity, and, of course, status. And we're going to unpack all of it. So to get a handle on today's prices, we actually have to rewind the clock a little. Because this idea of collecting art to show you're a big deal, yeah, that is nothing new. It's a practice that's literally thousands of years old. I mean, think about it. The pharaohs in Egypt were buried with incredible golden treasures. Fast forward to the Renaissance, and you have these powerful families paying fortunes for paintings to hang in their palaces, basically to show off how rich and sophisticated they were. The bottom line is, art has always been tied to power. And you can kind of see how the whole market got started right here. In the 14th century, it's all about powerful families. Then, by the 17th century, you get art academies, which make the art itself better and more professional. And even way back in 1634, a superstar artist like Rembrandt was pulling in what would be 300 grand today for just one painting. Then, boom, the Industrial Revolution hits. All this new money from guys who built railroads and factories floods the market, and they start buying up all the old European masterpieces. That's when art really became a global asset for the super rich. Okay, so now that we've got a little history lesson under our belts, let's get to the main event. We are going to count down some of the priciest paintings ever sold. And trust me, the stories behind these price tags are just as incredible as the art itself, leading us all the way up to that $450 million monster. So let's kick off our countdown at a cool $150 million. And here's the wild part. As huge as that number is, it only gets this painting to number 16th on the all-time list. This is Gustav Klimt's portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer, and it isn't just a masterpiece. Its value is wrapped up in its insane story. It was stolen by the Nazis, and decades later, the family fought this huge, dramatic legal battle to get it back. In the art world, that ownership history is called provenance, and a story like this, of theft, survival, and justice, adds a value that you just can't measure. All right, let's keep climbing that ladder. Next up, we're adding $5 million for a piece by an artist I think you've probably heard of. Now, this Picasso, Le Rêve, is a perfect example of how value can explode over time. It was first bought back in 1941 for only $7,000. But here's where the story gets nuts. Years later, its owner, the casino tycoon Steve Wynn, was showing it off and accidentally put his elbow right through the canvas. Can you imagine? Well, they fixed it, of course, and that infamous story just added to its mystique, helping it sell for $155 million. Okay, we're taking a pretty big jump now, closing in on $200 million. And this price was paid for an iconic piece of American pop art with one of the most bizarre backstories in art history. So this is Andy Warhol's Shot Sage Blue Marilyn. It's one of 5 nearly identical paintings. As the story goes, a performance artist came to Warhol's studio and asked if she could shoot the Marilyns. Warhol, thinking she meant take pictures of them, just said, sure. Well, she then pulls a revolver out of her bag and fires a real bullet right through 4 of the 5 paintings. That absolutely crazy moment made the series legendary and cemented their place in history. All right, prepare yourselves for a massive leap. We are jumping all the way to number 2 on the list with a painting that went for around $300 million. This one takes us into the world of abstract art. This is Interchange by Willem de Kooning. Now, its value isn't tied to a crazy story, but to its artistic importance. Art historians see it as a landmark piece, a real game changer for the abstract expressionist movement and for de Kooning's career. It was snapped up by the billionaire Ken Griffin in a massive private sale where he bought this painting and another one for a combined total of $500 million. It just shows how much historical importance can be worth. And that brings us here, to the very top. The single most expensive painting ever sold at an auction, the one that hit that unbelievable price we saw at the very beginning.
So after all that, after seeing a Picasso with a hole in it, a Warhol that was literally shot, you have to wonder, what artist, what painting could possibly be worth so much more than all the others?
Of course, it had to be Leonardo da Vinci, right? The painting is called Salvator Mundi, which means savior of the world. But it's not just the name da Vinci that gives this painting its incredible value. Oh no, it is the almost unbelievable journey this thing took to get to that auction block. The story of this painting is straight out of a Hollywood movie. It was literally lost for almost 200 years. Gone. Then it pops back up in 1958, but it had been painted over so badly that everyone thought it was just a cheap copy. It sold for £45. 45. Decades later, a team of experts starts restoring it, and as they peel back the layers, they realize this isn't a copy. This is a lost original by the master himself. Once it was authenticated, its value went to the moon, leading to that mind-blowing sale in 2017. The artist, the rarity, and that incredible lost and found story, that's your recipe for a $450 million painting. So we've seen the history, we've seen the jaw-dropping records, but what about the future? Where is the art market heading now? Well, it's always changing, and there are some really powerful trends reshaping it as we speak.
And there are three big ones, in particular, that give us a pretty clear picture of what's coming next for collectors and artists all over the world.
The biggest trend is the shift online. I mean, just look at this chart. Since 2019, right before the pandemic, online art sales have exploded by 300%. That is a massive change, and it's making art accessible to a whole new generation of buyers from every corner of the globe. And it's not just where we're buying art. We're seeing powerful new markets, especially in China and the Middle East, that could totally change what kind of art becomes popular. Technology is also a huge player. AI can now spot fakes with almost perfect accuracy. And finally, that word we keep coming back to, provenance. Now more than ever, it's crucial to trace a painting's entire history to make sure it wasn't stolen at some point. And all of this leaves us with one last big question. For centuries, what we value in art has changed, from religious power to personal wealth to the power of a great story. It really makes you wonder, with all this new technology and all these new collectors entering the scene, what kind of art and what kind of stories will we decide are priceless next? Thanks for joining me.